Hi, I'm Wendy Hollander, and in this tidbit from Botanical Basics, we're going to learn how to light our form correctly to make it look as three-dimensional as possible. One of my favorite things about botanical illustration is how the drawings and paintings look so three-dimensional and so realistic. And I've learned over time that there are some very specific ways that the artist can create that illusion. So what I mean, here's a couple of my drawings where I'm hoping you think, as I try to do, is I'm creating these tomatoes so they look very three-dimensional, even though this is a flat piece of paper. So we're creating an illusion, and here's a radish. The same idea. How do we get the form to look three-dimensional? Well, I'm going to show you that secret today. It starts with understanding how light affects the three-dimensional quality of a form, creating a variety of values from very, very dark to very, very light. The lightest part is the highlight on the drawing, where it's the highest point where the light hits it. The darkest part is in shadow. So I have a light set up coming from the left above my form at about a 45-degree angle, hitting the form. And this is the optimum light source to make your form look three-dimensional. And you can clearly see the shininess is the highest point and the highlight. And then the tones, the values get darker and darker and darker, and you get on the shadow side where it's the darkest part of the form. So once you learn how to light your simple geometric shapes with your one consistent light source, and you start to memorize that in your head, you can find similar forms in nature and use that same light source as your model. Okay, so now I'm sitting behind the light source and your light is coming from there, hitting your forms. And you can see the nice value change from a very gradual, from very, very dark to very, very light. And that smooth transition is how you create three-dimensional form. And we're going to practice that over time with these various basic technique lessons that are 30-minute meditations where you'll practice learning how to tone evenly from dark to light, and then we'll put that toning on forms. So once you've learned your light source and practiced it on the four shapes here, you can take those forms. For example, let's take our sphere and turn it into a tomato using that same light source model. Here is another tomato. This time that tomato has a bit of a stem like a cylinder does, so you would use your light source model the way you toned the cylinder. And here I can just show you in the practice sheet the cylinder and the light source, how it looks on the drawing. And then, of course, you can turn your cylinder into a branch. There's a couple of different branches, and then you can see the drawing practice of the real branch over there. Thinking about a more complex, eventually form such as a flower, this morning glory is very much like a cone, and we'll use that light source model for the flower. And a cup shape is almost like sometimes a rose or other simple, especially tulips and things, fit into the idea of a cup for your light source model. And then, interesting, a leaf has got its own set of parameters, because a leaf by its center mid-vein has two distinct planes. So I like to use this as my light source model for a leaf. And the inside of the leaf, I hold it that way. And the outside or the back of the leaf, I do it more like that. So I just want to invite you, I'm kind of obsessed with light source and I practice it over and over again, and I find it really interesting to see different ways I can use that one consistent light source and then create my three-dimensional drawings. It's really a fun way, and once I learned this, it was like a whole world opened up to me, because I had no idea that you could control your light on your form. I thought I had to draw exactly how the light was outside in the sun at the time, or multiple light sources in a room. But the idea of having one very consistent light source allows you to be in charge of your drawing so that you can create a real three-dimensional illusion of structure. And I do want to say that one more thing about the light source. When you think about your light source, you forget about color. You don't think about color at all. You just want to think about values gradually changing from as dark as you can get here to as light as you can get. And learning how to do a nice even transition of tone will give you the ability to draw and create that illusion on a form. And we will first learn how to do it in tones, and then I'll teach you my technique called the grisaille technique, where we add color on top of that basic structure and toning that we did in a neutral range of tones. So let's get started.